To me, Job 4 of Final Silent E is one of the very best parts of the program. It's actually where your students begin to become a lot more independent, so the scaffolding gets taken away, and there's a realization that's often reported that spelling isn't quite as complex as they thought. We're going to look at the instances where Final Silent E combines with a consonant and the letter L to form the final syllable of a word. For instance, B-L-E, bull. You see this at the end of lots of words like table and Bible and stubble and so on. This is not a suffix. It doesn't carry any meaning. The ending of table and the ending of Bible are the same three letters, the same syllable, but they have no meaning connection whatsoever. So that's the difference between a morphological unit, that is, something which carries meaning, and a common word ending. So Final Silent E plus a consonant plus L gives us a whole list of common endings. And we're going to look at those common endings now. Ask your students to turn to a double page spread and label that page as consonant plus L-E. When they've done this, get them to skip a line and write the first consonant in the alphabet, not too close to the margin. That first consonant is B. Then ask them to write a dash before the letter B and the letter L after it. Then ask them to write the letter E after the L. The first line should look like this. And then you say, this is a very common word ending in English. When you see it in a word, what will it say? The answer is bull. Next to bull, ask your students to write the word able. They should have all the information that they need in order to write the word able, A saying its name at the end of a syllable, and bull, which you've spelled for them. And this is what I mean by the scaffolding coming away. When they've written the word able, say, in the word able, how many syllables do you hear? The answer is 2. What's the first syllable? A. And the second syllable? Bull. What would the word sound like if we took away the final silent E? Now, a lot of people here will say abble. Actually, this word would still say able, because the A would be falling off the cliff in the first syllable, and the second syllable would be bull. So the final silent E isn't changing the sound of anything. Is it stopping the word from ending with an illegal letter? It's not. So what would be wrong with the second syllable if the final silent E weren't there? Well, the answer is every syllable must have a vowel. Even if it's not a vowel sound, it's a vowel letter. So we touched on this before when explaining the importance of vowels. We're going to write that down as a rule, but that rule is going to be at the bottom of their second page. They're going to count 6 lines up from the bottom and then write this rule. Rule: every syllable must have a vowel. So we can fix syllables that don't have a vowel by adding final silent E. That's the 4th job. Write it down underneath that rule. Job 4, final silent E can give the last syllable a vowel. Next to able, write the word babble. Again, don't write this for your students, have them write babble. And the questioning goes, in the word babble, how many syllables did you hear? Answer, 2. What's the first syllable? Bab. What's the second syllable? Bull. So if we took away the final silent E, would it change the sound of the second syllable? The answer is no, but it would change the look, wouldn't it? And that's why we need final silent E at the end of the second syllable to give that syllable a vowel. So we've been dealing a lot with auditory rules, but this is visual, and spelling is ultimately visual. There's an overlap here a little bit between auditory and visual, but this is a visual rule, and it has wide application. There's something else you should know about a word like this, though. The word able has 1 B, but babble has 2 B's in the middle. Let's see why this is. Again, the first syllable in babble? Bab. And what's the second syllable? Bull. Now let's take one of those B's away. The second B belongs to the last syllable, so we can't take that away. That's another principle that you should know about. The syllable B-L-E is a whole unit and can't be split up. That's the next rule. Write it down. Rule: a consonant plus LE cannot be split up. So let's take the first B away. What would that first syllable now sound like? Bay. Why would it sound like that? Because the letter A would be at the end of the syllable, falling off the cliff. So what would that word sound like with just one B in the middle? Bable, which rhymes with table. So we fix the problem by putting a consonant at the end of the first syllable, and we can't borrow that B from the second syllable because a consonant plus LE is a unit. So what's the only letter we can put here? That's right, it's another B. It won't change the sound of anything. That's one of the main reasons why we have double consonants. Have your students skip a line and write the next consonant in the alphabet, which is CLE. That gives us the ending cul. Then DLE, dull. And coming to DLE, you can ask this question: what if you turn on the engine of your car but you don't drive anywhere? You're said to idle. Now, with idle, is that one D or two? What do we want here? Do we want the vowel falling off the cliff in the first syllable? Get them to answer this question. Yes, we do. We want the vowel to say its name. Therefore, how many Ds in idle? 1. And if I put 2 Ds in idle, what would the word sound like? The answer is iddle. What's the slang word for a violin? Fiddle. Is it fiddle or fiddle? How many Ds? And so this question can pattern in this idea of doubling. Doubling has a lot to do with stopping vowels falling off cliffs. So for many of the rest of the consonants in the alphabet, you can provide this contrast. So with your students, go through words like sniffle and rifle, bugle and struggle, and so on, until you get to the letter H. Write the consonant, H and the L and the E, and say to your students, in English, do you see these 3 letters at the end of any words? The answer is no. In fact, it's not a legal ending. Therefore, I'd like you to take your pen and cross it out. There are some other illegal endings like this, and your job is to work out which ones are legal and which ones are illegal. For the legal ones, you're to provide an example. Cross out the illegal ones. And this is what I'd like you now as teachers to do. Work out which consonant plus LE endings you can have and which ones you can't, and see if you can think up some examples.